Okay, so we'll discuss today about the interview questions, most frequently asked interview questions, or the questions like how you need to answer for the interview questions. Then we'll start with data dictionary because that is the first concept like most of the interviewers will start asking questions on. So as I said earlier, introduction is very important. Your introduction is very important. Prepare well on your introduction. So, okay, you have to prepare about your education and your skills in SAP and your experience. Okay, your personal family details are may not be very important for the interview, right? If you are not a fresher,
Okay, sir.
okay, if you have experience and if you are attending for an interview, at least I'm not at all interested on learn about your personal family details and everything, right? So my main focus will be on your education and skills in SAP and what are the projects you handle and what type of projects, right? My focus would be on these topics, okay? But few interviewers might ask about your personal details like about family, right? Then you can answer if they ask you those questions, okay? But your primary focus should be on your educational details and SAP skills and your projects. What are the projects you handled? Clear? That's about your introduction. And you have to in introduction explain about your education and explain about your skills in SAP ABAP and explain about your total years of experience. And explain about your current project. What is the current project you are working on and what are your roles and responsibilities? Okay, right?
Oh,
So I can tell you some sample introduction. I'm not saying everyone has to follow the same introduction, but you can change it as per your convenience. Okay, so introduction would be like this. So if the interviewer asks me like introduce yourself or explain about my experience, I'll start like this. Okay, hi, good afternoon. This is Amar. So I have 5 years of experience in SAP ABAP. So I completed my engineering from JNT University in 2018. So in SAP ABAP, I have experience in data dictionary, reports, interfaces, print layouts, and I have knowledge on iDocs, and also I have knowledge on OData services and CDS views. So my current project is Reliance Industries. Oh, so in that project, I am working as a ABAP consultant. So my responsibilities are developing the new objects and unit testing and preparing the technical specification documents. So that's about my experience. So this is how you need to explain. Okay, clear?
yes, sir.
We can add more details about your project, right? And more details about your technical skills, right? And next step. So once the introduction is completed, the interviewer will focus on asking the technical questions. So few interviewers will focus mainly on the projects, right? What are the projects you handle? They wanted to know more details about your projects. And few interviewers will ask only technical questions, the standard technical questions, right? So you should be ready for both scenarios, right? In that case, you should have good knowledge on your project and what are the objects you delivered in that project. At least 3 or 4 objects you should be prepared, right? So I've created hundreds of objects in my previous projects, but I don't remember. I remember hardly 4 or 5 objects because I created them long back. And I did not document them, right? So if you have experience, doesn't mean that you should remember all your objects, right? But at least you should be able to remember 4 or 5 objects what you have created. One object from reports, one object from forms, print forms, and the other object from data migration, one object from interface, like that. Okay. Now Then when starting the technical questions, most of the times interviewers start will asking questions on data dictionary. The very important question from data dictionary is about data element and domain. What is the difference between data element and domain, and why we use domain? So data element is semantic attribute which contains field labels, field descriptions, and we have other options like parameter ID and change document option also there in the data element. And domain is a technical attribute of the table field. It contains data type and length of the field. And also we have additional options like case sensitive option and value tables, fixed values and value tables. So what is the use of domains and data elements? For reusability and to maintain consistency. Okay, so that every user or every developer can use same data element and domain for the same field in different tables. The other important question, steps to create a table. What are the steps to create a table? Go to SC11, provide the table name, click on create, provide the table description, go to delivery and maintenance, select the delivery class. That is, if you are creating application table, A is the delivery class. And if you are creating customizing table, C is the delivery class. Mostly we create application tables for master data tables or transactional data tables. And select delivery and maintenance allowed. And next, go to the fields tab, enter the field names and the corresponding data elements. And if it is a client independent table, we don't need to provide MANDT as a first field. If it is a client dependent table, we have to provide MANDT as a first field, and it should be a primary key. And we define all the primary keys required for the table. And then we create foreign key relationship if any available. And then we are going to maintain the technical settings. In technical settings, we are going to maintain what type of data we are creating. Is it a master data or transaction data? For that option, we have a data class. In data class, we select what type of data we are creating. So APPL0 is for master data, APPL1 is for transactional data. And we have other options, size category. Size category is approximate number of records we're going to create in the table. So it is to define some space in the backend database, right? So by analyzing our required records, we are going to provide the appropriate size category. So if size categories exceeds in the production system, what will happen? It's not going to stop anything and we are not going to get any error. The provided size category is exceeded. So it will automatically assign a size category again, right? But it is always recommended to provide proper size category to improve the performance of the table data creation. And activate the table, check the syntax and activate the table. And you have to select enhancement category and activate the table. And if it's a master data table, to maintain the master data, we need to create a table maintenance generator screen. What are the steps to create table maintenance generator? Go to the table, utilities, select table maintenance generator and create the table maintenance generator. In table maintenance generator, we have to provide authorization group, function group, and the screens. Do you have single screen or two screens, right? And you have to provide the screen numbers. And there are two other options, that is standard recording routine or user recording routine. To transport records from development to test system, we need to select a standard recording routine so that whenever you create the records in the table maintenance screen, it will ask for the transport request to transport the data records to the next level system. If you select no user recording routine, it won't ask for the transport request. You need to create manually in development system, test system, and production system. If you want to maintain same data in all the systems, development, test, and production system, select a standard recording routine so that you can create only through transport request so that all these three systems will be in sync. All these three systems will contain same data. So where can you access table maintenance generator? In SM30. So the other important question about table maintenance generator is, can we create a transaction code for a table maintenance generator?
Yes,
Yes,
in
we
SC
can create.
93.
Yes, we can
SC
create
93.
transaction code for table maintenance generator in SC93. What is the type of the transaction code we need to create? Parameter transaction code. We need to select the option parameter transaction code, and we need to provide a transaction code, that is SM30, and the table name, the maintenance screen name, and we need to activate the transaction code. Then you can access your table maintenance screen by using transaction code. So the other interview question, let's say there is a existing table maintenance screen, and in the same table, and I've added two more fields. Then can you see that those two additional fields in the table maintenance screen when you go to the SM30? The
Now we
answer
have
is no.
and
No.
again generate the
In the
table.
existing maintenance screen, you can't see those new fields. For that, you need to regenerate the maintenance screen. Okay? Or you need to delete the maintenance screen and create again. Or just regenerate the maintenance screen. Okay? The other important interview questions are types of tables in the data dictionary. What are the types of tables? Data dictionary tables, not internal tables. Don't confuse.
Transparent.
Transparent table, pool table, and cluster table. What is transparent table? For transparent table, you'll be having one-to-one relationship with the backend database and application server. In data dictionary, if you have one table, we'll be having same table with the same name in the backend database. Okay, clear? Pool table. Pool table is multiple tables. So we will be having a single table pool. That is a one-to-one relationship for pool tables and cluster tables with backend database. Okay. So what is a data class? Here, data class defines what type of data we are going to store in that transparent table. Is it a master data or transactional data? Okay. So it will assign some table space in background database. So master data will be saved in one area and all the transaction data will be saved in another area. So these are the options APPL 1, 2, 3. So delivery class like to select the application table or customizing table, we select it, type of the table. So if you go to that, yeah, that's enough. That answer is enough. And R3 architecture, we have presentation layer, application layer, and database layer, right? You know what are these three different layers? What is database utility? When we use database utility, let's say we have a table with some primary keys and we changed the primary key, or we made one field as a non-primary key. Then what will happen? That the database table will be inactive. Then where you can activate in that scenario? You can do that in database utility. You can adjust and activate the table, or you can delete and adjust the data. Okay. So the transaction code for database utility is SC14, I think. SC14 is the transaction code for database utility. Whenever you change the primary keys, whenever you added the new primary keys, we need to activate and adjust the database table in database utility. If you see this, what are the maximum number of structures allowed in a table? We can add structures to the table, right? To add additional fields, or we can add one structure to the another structure, right? So what are the maximum number of structures we can add to one object? 9. 9 structures we can add. So what are the two methods to modifying the standard table? Modifying, not modifying, enhancing. How can you enhance the standard tables? Using append structure or customizing includes or CI includes. We can also call CI includes. These are provided by SAP in the table. Append structures we can add at the end. The custom fields will be added at the end, right? By using append structures on CI includes, we can add custom fields to the standard tables. And we are done with the data element. Domain is also completed. Views. What are the different types of views? It is also very important interview question. Database view, help view, projection view, and maintenance view. What is database view? By using database view, we can join two or more tables using inner join. Okay. What is a join we are going to use in database view? Inner join. It is very similar to your join select statement. So whatever the select you are writing using inner join, we are going to replicate same in S11 database views. Here you can join multiple tables. What is the condition to join multiple tables? There should be a common field between the tables, right? For example, if you can join VBAK, VBAP, LIKP, and LIPS tables, right? So what is the join here we are going to apply in database view? What type of join it is? Inner join or outer join? Inner join.
Yes.
Okay, inner join. Projection view. Projection view is nothing but like if you want to use only few fields of the table, you don't want to use all the fields of the table, then we can create a projection view and we can use that projection view in the select statement. Then you can select only required fields from the database view. Projection means hiding unnecessary fields and project only required fields from the table. Can we write select statement on database views?
Yes.
Yes, we can create, we can write select statements on the views. Help view, help view is for search helps. Okay. So when you need to create search help on based on two or more tables, we can use help view, like F4 help. What is maintenance view? Maintenance view in simple terms, we can use maintenance view to maintain data in multiple tables from the same maintenance screen, right? So similarly, like similar to the table maintenance generator, in table maintenance generator, we can maintain only one table data. But here in maintenance view, you can join multiple tables and you can maintain data in multiple tables in the same maintenance screen. So all will be related or will be connected through foreign key relationship, like multiple tables, whatever you are using in maintenance screen. Okay. So you can create data in all the tables, all multiple tables at the same time using maintenance view. Next, data dictionary, search help. Search help is F4 help. We can create search helps in data dictionary. SC11 is the transaction code. What are the different types of search helps? Elementary search help and collective search help, right? Collective search help is collection of multiple elementary search helps. Okay. So collection of multiple elementary search helps. Now lock objects. What are the lock objects? Lock objects are used to lock the data before going to update or change the record. Let's say you are changing a sales order record. Before changing it, what you need to do? You need to lock that record so that other users cannot access the same data at the same time. Okay? You can avoid parallel access of the same data, right? Once your data updation is completed, you are going to release the lock. So there are two function modules here in lock objects, that is enqueue, enqueue and dequeue function modules. So it will generate two function modules. They are enqueue and dequeue. Enqueue is to lock the record and dequeue is to release the record. Okay. Enqueue function module is to lock the record and dequeue function module is to release the lock. Okay. So before going to change any record, we need to lock the record. Okay. So what are the different types of locks available? Read lock. So what is the read lock? They'll they'll allow only the read access, but they cannot change the record. It will just allow the read access, right? It won't allow you to change the record. For example, when you are working on the programs, when one user is opened the program in the change mode, and when the other user is try to change the same program in other session, what is the message you can see? It will display a message, right? The user is already editing the program, and you cannot do edit, right? The same program, but you can display it, right? So that is called read lock. Write lock means it won't allow neither read or neither write. You cannot read the record or you cannot write the record. So difference between structure and table. Structure is a logical object. You cannot store any data, but table, you can store the data permanently. Table contains primary keys. Structures does not contains any primary keys. Table contains technical settings, and there is no technical settings in the structures. So top of page event, it's in report. Top of page event is to print the header. Not that much important. Hotspot, you know what is hotspot, right? Anyway, will come in the sequence. So in data dictionary, what is the different? What is the table type? When we create a table type is used to define importing and exporting parameters of the function modules or class methods, right? When you need to pass tabular data as input, or when you need to return multiple records tabular data as output, right? For that reason, we create the table type to define importing parameter as internal table type, right? If you provide the structure, it will act as work area, right? But if you create a table type and provide the table type in the importing parameter, then it will act as a table, internal table like structure. So you can pass internal table records, multiple records as input, or you can return multiple records as output. That's the reason why we create table types. Okay. You can use table types in smart forms and Adobe forms also to define import parameters or export parameters. Clear? Then the events. Let's go. Let's talk about a few interview questions on reports. The very important interview question and very general question is the report events, right? So you should explain about each event in the sequence. What is the first event? Initialization. Initialization event is to pass the default values for the selection screen inputs. Where you need to pass the default values? For the selection screen inputs, that might be a parameter or select option, not to internal tables or work areas, right? We pass default values in the installation event to the parameters or select options, selection screen inputs. Why we need to use the installation option? Since we have default keyword. In default keyword, you can provide the static values, but if you want to provide any calculated values, we can do only that in the installation event. What is that selection screen event? At selection screen event is used to validate the selection screen inputs. That means parameters are select options, right? And we have another event at selection screen on value request. That at selection screen on value request is used to create search helps in the program. F4 helps in that program. Okay. And we have one more event at selection screen output. What is at selection screen output? This event is to modify the selection screen input selection screen. For example, if you select one input in the selection screen, it should display only few parameters. If you select the other input, it should display only few other parameters like parameters or select options. So to modify the selection screen, to modify the input parameters of the selection screen, what is the event that we need to use? At selection screen output. What is this event for?
Such help.
For F4 help.
F4 help in the program level. Okay. For example, parameter name p underscore bookers. What is this event for? Let's say we have 5 parameters in the selection screen. There is error in second parameter. When there is a error, if you want to highlight only that parameter, not the other parameters, then what is the event you need to use? At selection screen on and the parameter name. Let me quickly show you that. So when you are talking about the events, right, you should explain about all these additional options in the at selection screen event. Okay. At selection screen output is to modify the selection screen parameters dynamically, and the at selection screen on value request for F4 help, and the at selection screen on is to highlight the parameter where we have the error. I'll quickly show you that. And what is startup selection? Startup selection is used to display the or implement the business logic. And end of selection is to display the output, but there is no significance of very important significance of end of selection in normal ABAP, but in HR ABAP it is very useful. And we have top of page and end of page. Top of page is to display the header, report headers, and end of page is for footers, report footers. And we have interactive event. What are the interactive events available? This is the interactive event available in classical reports, right? And we can use get user command without using at line selection. So at line selection is the interactive event. You should also remember this. Okay. Okay, it seems it is slow. Now, in the reports, how can you select data from multiple tables? For example, VBAK, VBAP, and LIKP, LIPS tables. For that, I have two options available. One is using for all entries. The other option available is using joins.
Join.
Join conditions in the select statement. If you are using for all entries, we need to write 4 select statements. And if you use joins, we can achieve this by using only single select statement, right? So joins are preferable approach in S4 HANA system, right? So you can achieve, you can get the data using only single select statement. But if you are using for all entries, first you need to select the data from header table, and then in the second table you need to use for all entry statement and to select the corresponding record of the header records. Like that, you need to write 4 different tables. What are the prerequisites to use for all entry statement? This is another very important interview question. What are the prerequisites? What are the rules to be followed to use for all entry statement? What are the rules? The source
Sorting.
internal table or the source or the header internal table should not be empty. There should be at least one record in that internal table. That internal table should be in sorted order, and there should not be any duplicate records by the fields which we are going to use in the where condition. You need to delete adjacent duplicate records. These are the 3 rules to be followed before using for all entry statement. If you pass the empty internal table, it will select all the records. It won't follow any condition. It will select all the records from the second database table, second level database table or item level database table. It will ignore for all entries. Okay. if the internal table is empty. Now, what are the different types of joins? This is also important interview question. We have inner join, left outer join, right outer join, right? So what is the difference? Inner join will select the records when the records are like same record is available in both tables. For example, if you take sales order number, if the sales order number is available in both VBAK and VBAP, then only it's going to select that sales order record. Otherwise, it will ignore that sales order record. What is left outer join? Left outer join will select all the records from the left side table, that is first table VBAK, and only matched records from right side table, that is VBAP. For example, VBAP, right? So whatever the records not available in VBAP, right? Those fields will be blank. What is right outer join? Right outer join will select all the records from right side table and only matching fields from left side table. Let's say there is an internal table with 100 records. If I want to select a 50th record from that internal table by sequence, not by values, how can you select that record from internal table to work area? We can use read statement with index to select record which is in 50th position. So we can use read statement with index as 50. So it will select that record which is in the 50th position to work area. Okay. So what is a binary search and read statement? Binary search and read statement is used to improve the performance of the read statement. So it follows the binary search algorithm to divide the number of records into multiple parts, and it will search in both parts so that the search results will be provided very efficiently or faster than regular read statement. But to use the binary search, what is the prerequisite? The internal table should be in sorted. The internal table should be sorted before using binary search in read statement. Okay. So what is the difference between loop statement and read statement? Loop is used to process all the records of the internal table. What is read statement? Read statement will process only one record from internal table to work area. What is the difference between collect and append statements? Append will add one new record to the internal table. Even though if you pass the same record multiple times, it will add new records to the internal table, right? But what about collect statement? If you use collect statement, if you pass the same record again with the same values, it will summarize or sum up the numerical fields. It won't add a new record to the internal table, right? It will sum up the values, numerical values, and it will keep only single record if you pass the same record again. If you pass the different record, for example, there is an internal table with employee data and employee ID 100. If you pass same employee ID 100 for multiple times using collect statement from work area to internal table, what will happen? It will sum up the employee salary. If you have a salary field in that work area, it will sum up that employee salary to the same record. It won't add new record again. If you pass the same record again, okay. But if you use append statement, it won't sum up the values. It will add one more record every time. Okay. This is an example for collect statement, right? Let's say we have an internal table. Let's say we are appending these four records one by one. First time, employee 100, name 100, and salary 10,000 appended. Next time, same record we are appending, or same record we are adding using collect statement. Using the what is this record? Same as above, right? Values are same. Employee ID is same. Employee name is same. Only numerical value, that is salary, is different. Then what it did here when we use collect statement? It added only one record. Sorry, here in the second record, right? It should be 101. There is a typo. The second record should be 101. In the first record, what it did? It sum up the values 10,000 and 12,000, 22,000. It did not add a new record, but it's a typo here. I have to make this EMP 100 as 101 in the second record in the internal table. Okay. Then if you pass the different value, it will add as a new record. Okay. If you observe this, employee 101, salary 13,000. I have to change this. I have to change this to 102 actually. The last record is 102. Follow the names. Okay. So collect statement will sum up the values. Okay. How can you delete duplicate records from internal table? First, you need to sort the internal table by which fields you want to delete the duplicates, and you need to write delete adjacent duplicate statement to delete the records from internal table. The other important interview question is how can you count number of records in internal table? By using describe statement. Describe internal table lines into one variable. So it will give the total number of records in the internal table. How can you clear or how can you delete records of the internal table or a work area? By using clear statement. So in S4 HANA, you can just use clear statement. Earlier we use refresh for internal tables and clears for work area, but now you can just use clear for both to clear all the records. Okay. We have another statement free. What is the difference between free statement and clear statement? So free statement will clear the records as well as release the memory of the internal table created for that created for that internal table. But if you use clear statement, it will only clear the records. It won't clear the memory created for that internal table or work area. But if you use free statement, it will clear the records as well as free the memory. So you know control break statements. What are the control break statements? At first, at last, at new, at end of. There are other two, but most frequently we use these four statements. So at first used to print or handle first record of the internal table. At first will trigger for first record of the internal table. At last will trigger for last record of the internal table. There is no condition here. First record of the internal table and last record of the internal table. At new, will trigger for first record of the repeated entry, right? For example, if employee ID 100 is repeating for multiple times, at new will trigger for first record of that employee ID 100. At end of, will trigger for last record of that employee ID, same repeating employee ID or repeating record, right? At new will trigger for the first record of the repeated entry, and at end of will trigger for last record of the repeated entry. So we'll see some questions in BDC. So what is the difference between BDC and BAPI? So BDC and BAPI we use for data conversions or to create the records in SAP. BDC follows the screen process where we need to record the steps and we need to simulate the screen processing using BDC methods like call transaction or session method, right? But when you take BAPI, BAPI is a function module, right? So BAPI function module will directly update the database tables after performing the validations, right? For BAPI, we don't need any screen processing or screen recording. BAPI is faster than BDC because it won't follow any screen processing. It will directly update data to database tables. What is the preferable approach to be followed to create the data in SAP? BAPI or BDC? If there is already a BAPI available, we just need to use BAPI function modules. If there is no BAPI available, then first we need to make sure there is no BAPI provided by SAP for that functionality. Then we need to go for BDC. Okay, clear? And what is the difference between RFC function module and BAPI function module? Both RFC function module and BAPI function module both are remote enabled function modules only. But the difference is
options.
RFCs contains exceptions to handle the errors, but BAPIS does not contains exceptions because BAPIS can be used in third-party systems also. Third-party systems cannot understand the exceptions, right? For that, to handle the errors, we use return parameters in the BAPI. In RFCs can be called only within the other SAP systems, so that SAP systems can handle the exceptions. So that's why RFCs can contain exceptions. The other difference is BAPIs are created as business objects in business object repository of SAP. So you can find all the BAPI function modules available in BAPI transaction code. The other difference is if you go and check the importing parameters and exporting parameters of the RFC, all those fields will be in technical names same as table fields. All the importing parameter structure field names will be same as table field names. But if you go and check the BAPI parameters, the field names are using generic names. For example, if there is a material number, the technical field name is Matner, right? But in BAPI, we use material because BAPIs will be called by third-party systems. So we should maintain field names in generic names, not in the SAP technical names, so that the third-party systems can also easily understand the field names. Okay. Yeah, these are a few interview questions, and yeah, I'll give you few more details on enhancements. So what are the different enhancement options available? So we have user exits, customer exits, baddies, enhancement framework. Now, the other important interview questions from enhancements are what is the difference between customer exits and user exits? First, we'll see what is a user exit. User exit is a subroutine based enhancement option. It contains a subroutine where the subroutine is included in between the standard program where you can implement your code inside that subroutine. Mostly SD module related programs will contain these subroutines. So subroutines will be like in between the standard code, right? You will be having a empty subroutine with like this form user exit underscore before save and end form. This will be placed in between the standard program. So if you want to write any additional code, you can write here. But for this, what you need? Access key. You need a access key. Without having access key, what is the alternative? We can create, without using access key, we can create
Implicit.
implicit enhancement in between this form and end form. So user exits follows procedural oriented programming and it uses subroutines, right? And mostly we found this user exits in SD module programs, standard programs of SD module. And what is a customer exit? Customer exit is also one of the enhancement technique. It follows procedural oriented programming approach. It uses function modules with empty include programs. We write our additional code inside those empty include programs in the function modules. We don't need any access key to implement the customer exits. What are the transaction codes to implement the customer exits? SMOD and CMOD. We can find the customer exits using SMOD transaction. For that, we need a package of the program. We can find the package of the program and we can find all the available customer exits in SMOD, and we can add that implementation to that customer exit in CMOD to a project, right? In CMOD, we create a project and we assign that customer exit to a project. So customer exits have only single implementation. Customer exit is having only single implementation. You cannot you cannot add same customer exits to the multiple projects. Only you can add one customer exit to only one project. To disable the enhancement, what you need to do? You can just deactivate the project so that whatever the enhancement you did is not going to work. Okay. So what is a baddie? Baddie follows object-oriented programming approach. It contains interface methods, empty interface methods When you create the implementation for the baddie, a class will be automatically generated. What is the use of this class? To implement the interface methods. The transaction codes, SC18 is for to check the baddie definitions, SC19 is to create the implementation or change the existing implementation, right? How to find the suitable baddie for your standard transaction code or for your requirement? For that, we can use a class CL exit handler, and in that class we have a method get instance. Keep a breakpoint on that method and execute the step in the standard transaction code. For example, click on save in the standard transaction code. So the debugger will trigger that CL exit handler class and it will return all the baddie definitions available at that specific action. For example, save action. So check the baddie definition SE18 and go through the interface methods and check the importing and exporting parameters, or sorry, interface methods have importing and changing parameters, and check if that is suitable for your requirement, then create the implementation in SE19. How can you check the existing implementation of the baddie? Go to SE18, enter the baddie definition, go to implementations and go to overview. Now it will display all active implementations of the baddie in yellow color. We can create multiple implementations for baddies, right? But for customer exits, we can create only one implementation. Is every baddie is going to support multiple implementations? Is every baddie is going to support multiple implementations? No. When you go to the baddie definition, you can see a checkbox, multi-use baddie. Only that baddie can be available for multiple implementations. So what are the different types of baddies available? Classic baddie, multiple implementations baddie, filter baddie, and kernel baddie. Four types. Okay. And if customer exits and baddies are not suitable, what are the other enhancement options available? Enhancement framework, that is implicit enhancement and explicit enhancement. You know how to find the implicit enhancement. Implicit enhancements will be available in at the end of the program, or starting of the function module, or end of the function module, or starting of the subroutine or end of the subroutine. Same like in class methods also, you can find at the beginning or at the end. You can create the implementation. To display the implicit enhancement options, go to the standard program, go to edit, show implicit enhancement. So it will display those dotted lines, and you can right click on those dotted lines and you can create the implementation. There is some limitation with implementation implicit enhancement. What is that limitation? So when there is system upgrades or system migrations happens, right? These implicit enhancements might be inactivated, deactivated. So we need to activate manually again. But if you use baddies, they won't affect at the time of these migrations. Okay. Yeah. I'll stop here for today. So I'll take one more session on the remaining interview questions and some scenarios, how to explain some scenarios. Okay.